of the day, number 1.
The Electoral Amendment Bill, second reading.
The Honourable Judith Collins.
Mr Speaker, I move that the Electoral Amendment Bill be now read a second time. The Electoral Amendment Bill responds to the recommendations of the Justice and Electoral Committee inquiry into the 2011 general election. I thank the Justice and Electoral Committee for its diligent consideration of the bill and those members of the public who made submissions. The committee received 14 written submissions and heard from 3 submitters. I was pleased to...
Order. Courtesy is contagious. Give the member a fair go.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I was pleased to see there was consensus amongst committee members on its report back of the bill. This follows on from a high degree of consensus during the committee's inquiry. I particularly thank the committee for reporting back by the end of last year. It is important that the bill proceed in a timely fashion in order for the Electoral Commission to implement the changes for this year's general election. Mr Speaker, the Electoral Amendment Bill implements those recommendations of the inquiry into the 2011 election that require changes to the Electoral Act and which can be put in place in time for the 2014 general election. The changes introduced by the bill aim to improve services to voters and candidates, improve efficiency by allowing greater use of technology and improve the integrity of elections through simplifying and clarifying existing provisions of the Electoral Act. Another important change introduced by the bill is allowing for full online enrolment. The bill will allow new and existing electors to enrol or update their details using the Real Me service. This responds to New Zealanders' expectations that they will be able to complete most of their transactions with government electronically. Paper-based methods of enrolment will continue to be available for those who prefer to enrol in this way. The bill also introduces a number of changes to improve the integrity of the electoral system. For example, Clause 50 provides for new party loan disclosure rules that broadly reflect current rules for disclosing party donations. This will increase transparency around such loans. Mr Speaker, I would now like to briefly touch on some of the changes that the Justice and Electoral Committee has recommended to the bill. The committee has recommended the removal of clauses 35 and 36, which relate to items that people can display on election day. While the committee recognised the benefit of allowing people to vote without influence on polling day, it had some concerns about the workability and enforceability of the proposed changes. The committee suggested these changes would be more appropriately addressed in a specific review of election day rules. The committee has also recommended removing clauses which would expand and the use and purpose of easy vote cards in favour of retaining the existing law. Mr Speaker, I note that there is consensus amongst members on these 2 changes. I've said on a number of occasions that electoral reform should, if possible, be based on consensus, and in the spirit I am very happy to accept the committee's recommendations. The committee has also recommended a number of other relatively minor amendments to the bill. These largely clarify current provisions and correct inconsistencies in the current legislation. For example, the committee recommended amending Clause 22 so that a voter who gives late notice of a change in his or her address would not be liable to be prosecuted for an earlier failure to do so. This change would give electors incentives to update their details. Mr Speaker, I am happy to support the committee's changes to the bill, which are all very well considered and practical. New Zealand's electoral system has a high level of integrity. This is partly due to improvements arising from select committee reviews and bills such as this. Mr Speaker, the changes made by the Electoral Amendment Bill will have a positive impact on the administration of this year's general election and future elections. I commend this bill to the House.
The question is that the motion be agreed to. I call the Honourable Member Andrew Little.